Hello my friends, welcome back. Hope you're doing well. And in this video, I will be in Luminar Neo and I'm going to show you 5 different masking tips or tricks that you've probably never used, maybe even never heard of. I'm going to walk through that and show you how you can do this in Luminar Neo and get some great results by really controlling your edit. We're going to be using this photo here. I'm already on the Edits tab. You can see I've erased a couple of things. I started with Develop Raw, I went into Super Contrast, and then Light Depth. So the photo started like that, and the photo is currently like that. And what I want to do is show you these 5 little tricks that come in super handy to help you control your image. Now, if you want to learn more about Luminar Neo, I've got a free editing guide available to anyone on my email newsletter. The link is down below. It's 27 pages of tips, tricks, and insights for helping you get better results in Luminar Neo. Check that out if you're interested. I want to jump into this edit, and the first thing I'm going to do is Structure AI. Now, I love Structure AI. It's great at giving the appearance of detail, and in a scene like this, I would want to boost that a little bit, and let's maybe go to 40, 45, 50, whatever it is. But historically, what I've done for a scene like this is use a brush to come in and apply it here in the mountain. This is called Vestrahorn. This is in Iceland, which I shot on one of the Luminar adventures over there. But I would typically do that and then also use the brush to paint it in to the reflection. Because if you look at just a mountain and its reflection before and after, it really brings up that appearance of detail and it looks awesome in my opinion. But it also looks pretty good in the foreground. And to be honest, though I don't do this a lot, it looks pretty good in the sky. So before and after. However, I don't want to be heavy-handed. I don't want to overdo it. So this is where, instead of coming in with a brush and kind of painfully or painstakingly painting it into the mountain and the reflection and maybe a little bit of the foreground, I'm going to do something a little bit different. And this is tip number 1. I'm going to use a linear gradient. So I'm going to take that from the bottom up. Now, if you aren't familiar with masking, you can learn more about it in that ebook that I mentioned before. But this linear gradient allows me to drag and fade the effect because you get 100% of your edit below this line, and it starts fading from that line to the top line into the photo. The cool thing is you can move this around, and I can also, by creating this really wide zone, what I call the transition zone, this is where the fade or the feathering of the mask comes into play, you can actually move it off of the screen. So what I'm getting is a gentle use, kind of a subtle use of that application of the appearance of detail or structure in the sky, but not very heavy-handed. So it's kind of softer and it won't make the sky look crunchy. But I will get all the effect down there and a lot of the effect in the mountain, which is exactly what I want. I'm just going to actually move that a little bit higher. You can see what happens, right? The intensity of the red and the mask indicates how much of that effect is being applied. That's why it's more red down here at the bottom because that's 100% and it fades up here. So I'm going to do something about like that. I'm going to get a little bit of that in the sky, but just a little bit, and I'm going to get a lot on the mountains, and I'm going to get all of it in the foreground. So that's a tip that can be useful in certain scenes if you're trying to amp up the drama without going over the top by making a really crunchy sky that might look like a bad HDR, for example. So before and after, that's tip number 1. Now, tip number 2 is going to be in color harmony. If you look at this scene, there's some great color, beautiful color in the sky. And I love the color in the mountain. I just want to be careful with it. So I would normally come into color harmony, and I'm just going to make some adjustments here. I took the brilliance and warmth both higher. Split color warmth, I want the warm colors to get warmer. That's by dragging this warm slider to the right. I want the cool colors to get a little cooler. That's by dragging this cool slider to the left. But I'm not done. I'm going to go into color balance, which is an amazing tool in and of itself. I'm going to add a little bit of blue to the shadows, which makes them a little richer, a little darker. But in the midtones and highlights, I want to add a little bit of warmth. So a little bit of red, a little bit of magenta, right? The midtones, and then the highlights, the same thing. A little bit of red, a little bit of magenta. And there's a lot of color now. And the color in the sky and in the foreground look pretty awesome. But in Vestrahorn itself and in the reflection of it, it's way too orange. So before and after. So I love the sky and I love the foreground, but the foreground, I don't love the reflection. So you can't just use object select or something like that. But here's a little trick that you may have never seen before. And this is in masking. I'm going to go get a linear gradient. I'm going to do the same thing I did a moment ago with Structure AI, where I drag this and I create a nice broad zone, but I want to make sure I place this so I'm getting very little impact of this mask on Vesterhorn itself because the color is just way too intense, right? So you just have to experiment with how much of a fade or how much of this transitional zone, how much of a feather do you want to have on your masks? But you can do that and get some really beautiful results in the sky. So before and after, that looks great. But Jim, you just talked about doing this in the foreground too. Yes, and what I'm going to do, and this is part of the trick, is I'm going to grab linear gradient again. You can do this multiple times in the same use of the tool. So the amount of color being applied, all the slider moves I made, still in effect because I'm still on the same use of the tool. I'm just going to use linear gradient again and do the same thing from the bottom. What I want to do is get some of that rich color in that foreground without really getting it too much into that reflection, right? So when I say reflection, I mean the reflection of the mountain because it's pretty vibrant orange. So I want to do something like this where I'm getting some of that nice rich color in the non-mountainous reflection, I guess is the way to say it. So I've backed out of the mask. That's applying the mask. And if you look at the before and the after, I'm getting all these rich, beautiful colors in the sky and in the sky's reflection, but not the mountain reflection and not the mountain itself. So before and after, so that tip comes in really handy on scenes like this, where you use a linear gradient multiple times to impact the color without getting it in the places you don't want it. Okay, the next tip, tip number 3, is going to be used in mystical. And I love mystical. It gives a wonderful kind of soft, gorgeous, like contrasty kind of look to a landscape, especially when it's shot like at at the edges of the day, sunrise, sunset, blue hour, twilight, whatever it may be. The thing about this is because it's adding contrast and kind of softening up the image, it does one thing I love and one thing I don't love so much. The thing I love is it adds a little bit richer shadow, right? So if you look at the before and the after, creates that nice rich shadow in the mountain, the reflection of the mountain and the foreground. But in doing so, it's sacrificing my sky. And what I mean by that is if that's the before, that's the after, the sky is brighter. Now, I spent develop raw, super contrast, and light depth making sure that I controlled the brightness of the sky. So I love the look of this in the midtones and the highlights, the midtones and the shadows, not so much in the highlights. That sounds like a luminosity mask to me. So I'm going to go grab that, and what I can do is really quickly isolate where this filter or tool, mystical, is being applied. I can come in here and you can see what I'm doing. If you're not familiar with luminosity masks, check out that video that I did last week. But I'm going to come in, and what I want to do is I want to apply this only to the shadow areas and some of the midtones, and then fade it into those midtone areas in the sky without creating a really bright sky. So that's because these are the midtone areas. So that means the bright parts of the sky, which is on the luminosity mask, going to be represented over here. They're not being impacted. So I've been able to use mystical, get the benefits that I want where I want them in the photo without blowing up or messing up my highlights. So if you look at the tool now, much better, right? So before and after, much better control, much better use of the tool by being able to use a luminosity mask to control the tonal areas that it's going into. Okay, here's another tip, which is similar to what I've done before. This is an Enhance AI. And instead of using Accent AI on the photo, I'm actually going to use Sky Enhancer, because what did I just talk about? I talked about controlling the brightness of the sky. Well, Sky Enhancer AI is effectively a polarizer. So look at that. I mean, it looks nice, right? Before and after, but it's too heavy-handed. Now I'm at 50, but I want to point out something. Even if I go to 100, it's only going to result in the sky because it's detecting the sky and it's containing the tool to the sky. So it's not impacting anything else in the photo. Even at 100, it's only impacting the sky. Well, I don't want to go to 100, but I do kind of want to go to 50. However, I don't want the full impact of that in the sky. So once again, this is a masking tip. You can come in and you can get that linear gradient. And because it's not just isolating the sky, the linear gradient is going to let me do the fade myself and control more specifically where this is going. So I'm going to do something like that. And I want this nice, generous fade, same as before, right? Same basic idea. But on this tool, I'm using it to control something that's already isolating the sky. So the sky's been isolated by Sky Enhancer AI, but I'm further refining that by just telling it, hey, I don't want it in those areas. I just want to fade it gently. So what's happening is, remember, it's above this top line. Up there is where you get 100% of the impact of Sky Enhancer AI, but I'm telling it, you can't go there because I'm running it off the screen. So I'm fading Sky Enhancer AI into the sky and down to the center of the photo. So that gives me a nice, more subtle use of that polarizer look in the sky. So before and after comes in really handy to be able to control your mask like that. And even though it's dedicated to the sky, I'm making it less impactful in the sky overall. And tip number 5 is actually with vignette. Now I'm going to go into the vignette, and you obviously, I'm sure, know how this tool works. You just come in, you build your vignette, do whatever. But the thing about the vignette tool is there's no mask. You don't have the ability to really control it other than, these settings here, feathering, inner light, which is great, and roundness and the amount and size. It all comes in really handy, but sometimes I want to control my vignette a little bit more. And that means I just come in and I build a custom vignette, and I do that in Develop. And you can do that by just dropping the exposure, right? So I'm going to go drop it half a stop, let's say, but I'm going to come in with mask and I'm going to use a linear gradient. Same thing we've been doing. These tips allow you to really control your light. So instead of getting that half a stop drop, I'm just going to gently apply this in the sky, and I'm going to back up, and then I'm going to get linear gradient again. I'm going to gently apply this in the foreground as well, and just run that low and off the screen. I'm going to back up. I'm going to go back into linear gradient. Now I'm going to do it from the sides. Same basic idea we've been using, but it's a different way to build a vignette that gives you more control over the use of the tool and how it's being applied to your photo. I'm going to back up, and then I'm going to get linear gradient one more time and come in from this side because I do want to hit all 4 sides. I just want more control than the vignette tool is giving me. And this is giving me the ability to really fade that light in. And now I've got a vignette that I've controlled. And of course, once the mask is in place, I can do more or less. In fact, I think I might do a little bit less. So maybe 0.35 or whatever instead of a half a stop drop. But before and after, I've created a custom vignette using Develop, dropping the exposure, and using the linear gradients to fade it in and have more control. Those are 5 different tips that really give you powerful control over your editing. That's by using masks to customize where these tools go in your photo. Hope it's giving you some good ideas for your own editing. Don't forget to check out my free ebook for editing in Luminar Neo. I'll be back soon, my friends. Thanks for watching. Take care of yourselves, and until next time, adios.